I don't know exactly. Like I say, if you went back a long, long ways when the planet used to be ice, or I think it was this planet. Like I said, I get my planets mixed up. This planet, another planet. Like I said, one of 400 or one of 120 planets that I've seen or worked on or had or done stuff to and stuff like that. Like when I was Brian and communicating with someone, I was like, well, this is water storage site B or one of three water storage sites basically. That were my property pretty much, or my planets. I get them confused, like I say. Water is somewhat valuable. Not well, I mean, to any epic whatever, the water is not really that valuable, but it's somewhat valuable. So I mean, because life needs water. You at least our kind of life needs water, but there are other types of life forms that out there that don't need or don't use water or don't use as much. Anyway, it all I don't really care. I'm not gonna really gonna get into it about that. But anyway, I'm talking about underground temples. Yes, there was once a pyramid or something like that. I believe, like I said, I had some stuff underneath the ice. Like there's even some steam generators or some stuff that would shine lights through the ice to light up the ice and stuff like that. In the way past days, a long long time ago, in on one of the planets, I had this big thing, and they would actually light up the ice and stuff like that, so the ice would actually glow because they would have lights that would actually shine light into the ice, and it was really cool. Anyway, though, but that was a long time ago, and also inside of deep underground, inside of some of the caverns and the caves, I thought I had a city or something like that, or like a big pyramid or something like that. There was like a temple built underneath, inside of one of the big, huge caves. They built this pyramid or something like that. It was just something kind of cool. I built like a little city down there inside of the cavern or something like that. I mean, there were supposed to be more caverns and stuff like that. I could have sworn we had more caves underneath, way deep underground. I mean, maybe they got filled up with lava, or maybe they got filled up with water or something like that, or just lost. I don't know. There were shifts and stuff like that, but there were like these great big huge like underground cavities that were hollowed out, because they had coal or something like that inside there, and I had a couple of buildings built inside there, and then it was supposed to be sealed, and basically sit there down there, and there were supposed to be tablets down in there and stuff like that. I don't know. I was gonna do like a whole bunch of like some stuff just for the fun of it, so people in the future would find some one day find it and stuff like that. That's probably what Adolf Hitler or someone was looking for, because there was like all these tablets and like information and stuff like that written on some of these buildings inside some of these deep underground caverns. But anyway, yeah, and gold, of course, and stuff like that. I mean, there's lots of gold. And like I said, I named gold. It's actually called something else, but I was like yellowish metal. And so I came up with the word gold, and so I named it. And from that day forth, yellow metal is known as gold. And I was actually trying to do like a couple different other colors of metal. Like it's very hard to actually color metal, like blue metal, white metal. I was actually trying to get some white metal, but yeah, I mean, because I wanted to make some colors of metal or because I wanted to make metal a couple different colors, blue, white, and a couple, maybe even some red metal or something like that. But it's very hard to color metal. Particle matter is it's kind of difficult to do that. It's all based on the mix. So anyway, yeah, and there's more and other stuff. It's just like, yeah, well, I just had a couple people or a couple life forms were working on it, and they were able to come up with some stuff. So anyway, or I don't know. I mean, I was a very rich man, and I could pay people a very long time to mess around with minerals and particles and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, like I say, and also like the super collider, like I was getting people to mess around with magnets, and to build the first super collider, and even telling people how important it was that you need a super collider if you're really going to be, on the whole like material and matter and particle stuff. If you're gonna really learn about how the universe and particles interact and all that stuff, you need a super collider, which is basically a bunch of magnets, a wall of magnets, or a bunch of magnets surrounding in a tube and stuff like that. And they were eventually able to understand what I meant and built the first super colliders and stuff like that. So anyway, like I said, magnetics and stuff like that, that's realistically probably how most of the universe functions and stuff like that. I don't really know, and I really don't care. Like, I just named a country and came up with a really good system and blah blah, and invented some things. And after a while, I was just like, I'm tired. And besides, like I said, I would think for months and months and months on end, trying to come up with all this stuff and figure out things and, and direct my people to do things and stuff like that. And, it gets to be where, it's, I was exhausted. Like I said, every day I would think about these things, and every day, I would come up with things for my people to build and do and stuff like that. And just to try and kind of like, for my people to work on. So anyway, my people of America or my people of my country or just my people. So, it kind of shifts where I was leading Germany, I was leading um, China, and then because I named America, and then I pulled most of my people back to America, but, and those are basically the Lusifer Star Line people, so Chinese, Irish, and some other people. You'd call them immigrants, but, realistically they were my employees, my people. So, anyway, and, there's other planets and other stars and stuff like that, and blah, 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 and, hundreds of trillions of years or whatever. Just like, whatever. Depending on how you look at it. It's my existence is like this, my existence is like that, my existence is like this, my existence is like that. It's like, whatever. And then like I said, it was all just fine until like Rodney or Abraham Lincoln or someone basically was like, Abraham Lincoln, and it's like, oh, and then my existence goes, and then you get into the Rosalie and Rodney and all their stupidity, and it's like, ugh, and then they're into big trouble, and basically have dug themselves such a huge hole that, they're basically done for, and blah, blah, blah. And like I said, Rodney and Rosalie and a bunch of other people had no idea that, like, even the Mafia knew about me, everyone knew about Lucifer Star Line. So, and then them just basically putting their foot in their mouth and basically making more bigger, larger and larger epic mistakes, thinking, trying to figure things out when, they had no idea. So it's like, like I said, even JFK or, they didn't understand how the government worked. I did though. But, it's like, it's just a power structure anyway. And then, you get all these other people around me and stuff like that. It's like, I don't, what am I, I'm ancient. So, and basically named America. And then you get all these other people like Zachary and Bill Gates who are in big, big trouble and realistically are dead and they just don't know it, or soon to be tortured eventually. And then you have all of them rationalizing how they could possibly get out of it. And it's like, you're not going to get out of it. There's no way out of it. You've done what you've done, and there's no possible way that it's not going to be known about. Like I said, after Mr. I'll Never Die, I'll Never Grow, the Truth Will Never Be Known died, some after like 240 million years or something like that, he finally folded and died or whatever. After he finally, eventually, it was only a matter of time, and realistically, all he was trying to do was to do this like future to past stomping and or shield whatever. It's just like, or something weird like that, which is just basically like a paradox or something crazy. But eventually, there's always more future and there's always more life forms out there in the universe. And, I was out there in the universe, so like, crazy people. Believing what somebody like Rodney or Rick Bush or like Trumpy or, they thought, oh, it's like, no. Sorry, didn't work. They got tortured and then killed, and then other bad things happened. So I'm just like, I'm Lucifer Star Line, basically. And, whatever. So, temporary insanity or temporary craziness or temporary abuse of free will and freedom of speech, won't really stop. And like I said, when they look back at it, it's mostly just people who had nothing, just trying to steal stuff and get stuff and then trying to cover it up. And it's like, I don't really know. I don't really care. I had nothing to do with it, so whatever.